What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Just a Guy on My Lunch Break. It is Friday. Thank God. Goodness gracious. It's been quite a week for me. Before I really get started, if you would, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Seems like just a few weeks ago, we crested 700 subscribers. I was cool with that. I was happy about that. Now we're pushing up towards 800 already. So I feel like the channel's starting to snowball, it's starting to grow, it's starting to get bigger. And I thank you guys for that. It is a very interactive channel. I look back on a lot of my videos, I'm like, damn, this one's got 60 something comments. You know, people just in there just talking back and forth, sharing ideas, sharing their perspectives, their experiences, all that good stuff. That's why I made the platform, right? Do I judge you on here if you're taking Kratom to the tune of 60, 70 grams per day? No. I kind of wish you would curve that a little bit, because I'm a type of person who pulls for other people. And when I see people getting kicked in the teeth by something and going completely over, above and beyond in an unhealthy way regarding something, I like to pick people up off of the ground and say, hey man, you know, dust them off a little bit and like, hey, you know, you can do better than this. You know, you have to get to a place where this thing is not kicking you in the teeth every day. You know, you have to be able to exert some measure of control over this, or you're just going to have to stop. You're just going to have to stop, because it's whipping your ass, son. You know? So I have a tendency to do that, but in a very diplomatic, loving, encouraging sort of way. You know what I mean? I do practice diplomacy on here. I think I have a good way of, you know, expressing my opinion without it sounding judgmental and condescending over other people. And that's kind of just me, who I am. A little bit probably the way I was raised, a little bit of the education background, being a teacher. Some of that probably plays into it. Whatever it is, it's just who I am. A lot of people seem to like it. In fact, 772 people so far have hit that subscribe button and apparently like it. If you like it, please hit the subscribe button, like the video, and leave a comment. Just let us know what your experience is. Why is it that you ended up on this channel? Why did my video end up on your feed? Tell me. Explain. I'd love to hear. You know, what's your story? You know, are you currently taking Kratom? Are you off of Kratom and you used to take it? Are you looking to possibly experiment with Kratom and you're trying to figure out some, you know, get some information on it and arm yourself with some good information before you get in neck deep taking something like Kratom, as you should? Or as you should ask questions and find out information before you start taking something like that. You know, whatever it is, comment. Let me know. You know, let me know where you're at. So yeah, still a little stopped up. It's getting a little bit better. But yeah, I'm on about 4 days of this crap now. So, I went and jogged the hills a little bit yesterday. Did about a 4.5 mile jog. That helped some. You know, I got back and I was like blowing my nose like the Dickens. You know, running like that or exerting yourself thins out that mucus. So believe it or not, it's counterintuitive, because people don't feel like doing shit when they don't feel well. You know, and a lot of people just want to curl up on the couch and just, nah, man. Nah. You gotta burn that shit out of there, baby. That's what I did last night. Put a weighted vest on, jogged around the neighborhood, went about 4.5 miles, and I had a lot of snot coming up after I did that. So yeah, counterintuitive, but it works. It works if you can force yourself to get out there and hit the pavement. Or, you know, it doesn't have to be a run. You can get anything that causes you to exert yourself can help you. It can help you when you're sick. Get to feeling better quicker, and it can help you in situations like where you're coming off of Kratom or lowering your dose of Kratom, which is a perfect segue into 16 grams. This guy. 16 grams is what I did for yesterday. So, I was on 17 grams for a good solid 3 days before that. Yesterday, I officially did 16 grams. So I've dropped a gram. Now, the key is, can't go over that, right? Got to keep it right there, right in the range of about 16 grams. And that's what I plan to do. So I'll do that tonight, probably tomorrow, and maybe Sunday night. Well, actually, I might try tonight because I did it last night as well, 16. So tonight would make 2, Saturday would make 3, and that's kind of my trend so far. I've been going about 3 days to allow myself to stabilize on that specific amount. Then on the 4th night, I'll probably go ahead and try to drop it down, whether that be all the way to 15, or if it's a little too uncomfortable, I might do 15 and a half, just whatever. I tend to go ahead and go down a whole gram. It's a little bit more uncomfortable, and admittedly, probably about 3:30, 4 in the morning, somewhere around in there, I started, a little touch and go, started getting a little bit uncomfortable, kind of getting that uneasy feeling in my shit. I can always tell when the kratom starts to phase out of my system, right? And my body starts to talk to me. I can always tell because I'll start doing this thing where it seems like I'm waking up every 20 minutes or so. And then I'm just kind of like looking around, and then I've got this sort of mild discomfort in my chest, when I go to try to lay back down and go to sleep. And again, I'm sleepy. It's not that I'm not sleepy, but I'll start having these uncontrolled impulses to kind of move, right? You'll get it in your chest a little bit. Some people get it in their legs. I haven't really noticed it in the legs, like the restless legs particularly. But, again, this is a slow taper that I'm doing. I'm not doing like a complete cold turkey. So the discomfort is mild. It's minimal. It was enough to kind of botch my sleep up a little bit for the last hour and a half, maybe 2 hours that I was sleeping, somewhere between 4 and 6. I get up around 6, so sometime between 4 and 6. Not that I wasn't sleeping at all, but I probably woke up, perhaps, I don't know, 4 times maybe, just within that 2-hour period. Just kind of like, yeah, I recognize that feeling, in here, that I was not feeling that well, just a little uneasy, almost like you were almost like there is someone else inside of you and they are uncomfortable because they realize they are in the wrong skin. So you just want to crawl outside of yourself. Very, very strange feeling. Hard to explain to people who have never gone through some sort of opiate withdrawal. A lot of you guys, know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like, and especially if you do if you're having severe withdrawals, you do like a complete cold turkey or something. It's like freaking alien up in here. I mean, you're just like, you can't sit still for more than a few seconds before you're just like, oh my God, reposition. Like, maybe this is better. After about 5 seconds, it's just a horrible feeling. One that you just cannot describe to people who have never been through it. The inability to sleep. People who have never been through it or never had some sort of opiate addiction, they think of it as like your brain won't shut off or you can't get sleepy. They think of it as, oh, you can't sleep? Well, here, take some melatonin. That'll help you sleep. The chamomile tea is supposed to help you sleep. Take some of this Tylenol PM. I hear Benadryl is really good for, it got that antihistamine in it. That'll really help you sleep. You're like, you don't get it. Thank you, Helpy Hopperton. You obviously don't understand. Good on them for not understanding. My wife still to this day doesn't understand. But she also knows better than to offer me a Benadryl if I'm going through a cold turkey withdrawal, which I haven't in a while. I got smart about it and did a taper. But with that said, that's a good segue to say some people can't do the tapers. And I've had tons of people express that to me on the channel. Like, I don't have the willpower. People are like, I just don't have the willpower. After about a week, 2 weeks, whatever it is, I'll get to a point where I'm just like, I'm just too tempted to take more, and then I'll end up upping my dose. And then once I do that for a couple of days, then it's like, well, there goes the taper, And I can understand that. Everyone's level of discipline regarding something like this is different. We're all different, and it is definitely safe to say that a slow taper is not for everyone. And I've once heard the analogy before. I've had someone say to me on the channel, hey, it's easier to hang off of a cliff for 2 weeks than it is for 2 months, right? And that's a good analogy for slowly tapering versus just going ahead and ripping the Band-Aid off, and there's something to be said. That's another good analogy. Some people just want to just rip the Band-Aid off. Just get the shit over with, bro. Because, if you do a slow taper, you're looking at months and months and months of very, very strong self-discipline, which, let's talk about self-discipline as a bunch of addicts, right? That's kind of a weak spot for a lot of us, okay? Some better than others. For me, I tie it into my I'm just a driven individual, and especially when it comes to exercise and stuff like that too. So I kind of tie all that in together, and I'm one of those people, when I make the decision to, okay, I'm going to taper, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get completely off, or I'm going to get here, I'm going to get there. I'm one of those people that once I hit that switch, you can't make me hit the switch, right? You can't force me to hit the switch. But once I hit it, and once that switch gets flipped on where I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm about to kick this mofo in the teeth, I'm about to change this, then at that point, I'm like an attack dog. It's hard to call me off of it, right? I just want to stay on it. I just want to stay the course. I just want to finish it, right? And a lot of people have that switch, but they have to flip it. You have to flip it, Nobody else can come flip it for you. And that's why I'm so adamant on here about people not jumping in the comments and throwing stones at other people because they're not doing exactly what they're doing. We don't do that on this channel. You notice. Why don't we do that? Because you can't make that effing decision for that person. They have to make the decision. And if it's some external source coming in and bullying them to try to make the decision, that decision is not going to stick or be nearly as meaningful to that person as if they decide, because they've gone through this negative consequence, that negative consequence. They've hit rock bottom this many times and that many times, and they got this DUI, and they had this spouse break up with them, and they lost this car because they couldn't pay for the car because they were spending all of their money on Kratom. They lost this house. They got this eviction notice. That is the kind of thing that on a personal level causes certain people to say, you know what? Here's the towel. See the towel? This is a towel. Throw it in the towel on this shit. Don't want to do it anymore. And it's that person living that life with that specific set of circumstances that has to make that decision. That's why I don't come in here pointing at people and this and that and the other. And it's interesting because I've had people, join the channel and make an attempt to do that to me. A month ago, I was like, I don't really want to taper. I'm good. I'm good right now. I'm good, and I had a couple of people try to, push me in the direction. Come on, man. One guy tell me, your channel's just showing people how to be better Kratom addicts. You don't want to quit. You should be trying to quit. I'm like, bro, but in an oppositional sort of way, that almost made me not want to quit. I was like, well, I definitely ain't quitting because of your ass. Matter of fact, I'm going to keep going. I don't want to quit. I love Kratom. How about that? You know, it's almost like a kid, you know, it's almost like a kid gets told not to do something, and in a weird sort of way, you feel violated because that person has no stake in your life. They have no skin in the game, in terms of, you're the one that has all the skin in the game in your own life. You're the one that has experienced those negative consequences. You're the one that lost your job. You're the one that watched your bank account dwindle down to zero because you couldn't stop buying fucking MIT 45s. You're the one that your wife left you. You're the one that got the eviction notice. You're the one that the courts took your kids away for 3 months because you got busted for some sort of drug charge. You are the one. They are not. They have no skin in the game, so it feels like an attack on a person who is a drug addict when somebody else who has no skin in the game in your life jumps into the frame and is like, well, you're like, throw away the key, shut your face. I'm not listening to you. I'm going to do this at my own pace, at my own rate, because it is I who have to deal with and suffer the consequences of whatever decision I make right now. Damn, I got amped up about that. Anyway, a little bit of a rant for you there. So anyway, you have to make your own decision in that regard. And I stand really firm by that on here. Now, does that mean that I think that everybody on here who is using Kratom is just in a great spot and they should just continue doing what they're doing? They should not step back and have any retrospect and look into their lives and search through it with the fine-tooth comb and say, well, maybe I could change this or maybe I could change that. No, I'm real big on introspection. I'm real big on introspecting in life. And I think if you don't step back and sometimes take a bird's eye view and look at your life in a timeline sort of fashion and take stock of those things and take account for some of the things you've been through, if you don't do that, then your perspective of everything becomes one of, that fly that's sitting on top of a pizza, and then somebody tries to explain to them that, there's other stuff out there. They're like, well, damn, I'm sitting right in the middle of it. All I can see is pepperoni and cheese, bro. That's all I can see, and then, you realize that from a bird's eye view looking up, there's other food. There's lasagna, there's salad, there's sugary drinks over there. Flies love that shit, but the fly can't see it because from the fly's perspective, he's sitting right smack dab in the middle of that pizza. When you're sitting right in the middle of your own life, that was not a great analogy. Well, yeah, I tried. It was off the cuff. But my point is, when you're in the middle of your life and you don't take a bird's eye view and you look at it from an overhead perspective or a bird's eye view, you are unable to really see how certain things that you are doing in your life affect you, But when you sit back and you start taking account of them and you consider them and you think about, oh yeah, when I did that, well, what about, what kind of consequence did I receive for that? Oh, that's right. My husband left me. Oh shit, well, my wife left me. My girlfriend left me because I couldn't get my dick hard because I was taking too many opiates. Ah, man. I'm not just being funny. I'm telling you, I've heard all kinds of shit since I've been on this channel, and I've actually had people tell me that they're pretty sure the reason they lost the recent relationship was because of man issues, right? Not being able to maintain an erection because of too much kratom or Suboxone or something like, opiates really, really kill a man's sex drive, including their ability to be able to maintain an erection, especially when taken in larger amounts, okay? I'm telling you, I'm not just making this shit up. I've heard it. But anyway. So yeah. So there's that. And I'm going to read a couple of comments. These are older comments. I actually didn't print out any today, but I have instances when I do these videos where I intend to get to, you know, I'll print out 5, 6, 7 comments, and then I'll get on one of them and I'll just start improving. And it'll make me think of something else. Then I'll start talking about that. And then I'll start talking kind of like I'm doing right now, right? And then I'll just end up missing the 4th, 5th, and 6th comment that I printed out. So I've got extra. Yeah, I got extra. Let's go. At Who Cares 4464. Hold on a second. I'm actually thinking about writing several tapering plans. I've tapered off other things before successfully, but I did it very slowly over 3 to 4 months, reducing, then stabilizing, reducing, then stabilizing. Slow and steady pace. Towards the end, I started spreading doses out over time instead of reducing the dose. Like instead of every 24 hours, then every 36 hours, every other day. There are many ways to slow taper. There are many ways, but slow taper will help avoid the heavy withdrawals. On another note, LOL, I think I'm switching to capsules for the rest of my taper. I'm at the 8 to 12 grams per day, so I think I'm to the point of switching to all caps to really dial it in. I set out 12 capsules today, and I'll see how that goes, which is 6 to 7 grams total in caps. I've been taking 1 to 2 capsules every couple of hours and going to try this for a few days, and hopefully I will adjust to that dose because I'm done, LOL. But still tapering slowly though. I plan on staying on this dose for up to a couple of weeks. I can do this. You can do this, my man. And I hope the channel's been helping you. I know you've been very active on it, and I love that. You know, people get on here and they use it as an accountability mirror. They use it as a tool to get on. And while I'm putting all this out there, I'm typing all these comments out. I'm telling what I'm doing. I'm putting my plans out there into the universe, out there into the internet. And you know what? That gives it life. That gives it inception, you know, when you do that. And I think that there's benefit in that. You know, it's just like the old adage, there's more room on the outside than in. You know, it's the same thing as, you know, going to a psychiatrist and laying down on the couch and just letting all that shit out. You know, sometimes it's way less about what the psychiatrist is going to tell you to do about it. You know, sometimes it's just having someone there to listen and then you getting it out. A lot of times people stand up off the couch and they're like, damn, oh shit, damn, you know, I feel good. I feel surprisingly good. I feel surprisingly better. You know, I feel like 20 pounds lighter. I feel like a weight's been lifted off of me, yada, 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 so forth and so on. And you hear that, you know, same principle here. And I think it's a smart move, you know, by this gentleman to get on here and talk about what he's doing, put his plans out there, because when you put that out into the universe, it tends to internalize more with you, right? Personally, on a personal level. And then you'll say, well, damn, you know, and I mean, it helps me getting on here talking to you guys, because I can tell you, especially when I first started this taper recently, there's definitely times where I was like, today would be a good day just to take a big ass fat tablespoon of about 10 grams at one time. Hell yeah, let's go. You know, and I've considered doing it, but one of the reasons that I haven't is because of you guys, is because of this channel, is because me being accountable, because what I'm not going to do is go take 30 grams per day and then come on here and lie to you guys and tell you that I'm still tapering. I'm not going to do that, because then I'll feel shitty about myself, right? So I always have to be honest. I always have to be forthcoming. So I use this channel as I do these videos. I tell what I'm doing. I've come on here and told, you know, I know all 772 people aren't watching, but potentially have come on here and told 772 people that, hey, I'm down to 16 grams. I'm still tapering. This is how it was. This is what ended up happening. And then if I do that, and then I turn around and I take 25 grams tomorrow, it's like, yeah, I got to be honest about that. You know, then I'm lying to you guys. I'm lying to myself. And when it comes to something like an addiction, or it's all about accountability. It's all about honesty. The very number one foundational characteristic of being an addict and overcoming that and quitting whatever that substance is that you're addicted to, the very number one foundational value is honesty, accountability. If you don't have that, it's like the little pig that built his damn house out of hay. You don't have a foundation to stand on, and your house is going to come crumbling down. The honesty, the accountability is the number one most important aspect, right? And I realize that. At 47 years old, I realize that. So what I can't do and what I won't do is come on here and... Sorry, guys. I know that doesn't sound very appetizing, but it is what it is. That's the state I'm in right now. But you know, that's the most important thing here is being honest and being honest with yourself, you know, and you can come on here and lie to everybody else. But you would know it's a lie, right? And that's going to eat away at you, you know, and that's going to chip away at you, you know, and that's going to make you feel less than what you are. And then when you feel less and you start having confidence issues, guess what you're going to do? Your little ass is going to go crawl back under the umbrella of, well, let me use something to make myself feel better again because I'm stressed out. Oh yeah, why are you stressed out? Because I wasn't honest, and I lied, and it kind of made me insecure about myself. So now I'm going to make myself feel better by, what? Taking more of the substance that got you in that boat in the first place? Please, don't do that. So anyway, who cares? Thank you for the comment. I think you're doing an incredibly awesome thing, brother. And I know this comment's a few days old, so you got to be getting on down there now. I think especially when you get to that lower amount like that, 8 to 12 grams per day, yeah, I think switching to capsules is a good thing. What I'm doing right now is incorporating a little bit of both. But I've got one of those baking teaspoons that, you know, if it's not a heaping teaspoon, if you just got it barely filled up, like the square thing at the end, that's about 2.5 grams. So I call it 2.5 grams. And I definitely don't go overboard with that. I don't pack it in there and then fill in more. I just do one scoop, leave it fluffy, and then I kind of shake off the top, and I'll use like a flat, like a card or something like that to just brush off the top. 2.5 grams. It's actually 2.4 supposedly is what it says on the bag is a teaspoon. I always call it 2.5 just for extra. And then and what I'm doing for my morning and afternoon, I'm taking the 1 teaspoon, which is 2.5, and then I'm taking 3 capsules that are 500 milligrams a piece. So that's another 1.5 grams. So I'm doing 4 grams in the morning, 4 grams for lunch, and then when I get home, I'll take a little bit bigger dose right now, 5 grams. And so that's putting me at 13 grams after my 3rd dose for the day. And then I have, 3 grams left over that I can kind of work through over my night times, to kind of keep myself sleeping and stuff like that. And what I'll do is I'll continue to cut down my daytime doses. Like starting Monday of next week, I'll start doing just 3 grams in the morning, 3 grams in the afternoon. Then I'll keep the 5 grams in the evening so that I can, get more sleep and stuff like that. And I'll just continue to cut it down. And what I'll end up doing is I'll get to the point where I'm just not using it during the day at all. I won't be using any in the morning, Won't be using any at noontime, and then I'll only be taking that evening dose, right? So that I can make sure I sleep and I can get that sleep component in, because sleep is important, especially when going through something like this. Sleep is very important. 30 minutes, damn. But yeah, and I want to finish with this. So one thing I've noticed, I will say probably about the last week, since I've been consistent with not doing the interdosing. I've only been dosing 3 times per day. And then, of course, I do count the doses that I take at night. I do count that as a part of my overall grams per day. So I'm not counting those grams. I'm absolutely counting them. But I take them like at separate times throughout the night, like a gram here, a gram there, 3 or 4 hours later. I would prefer not to do it that way. I would prefer, and I'll get to the point where I don't have to take any at night like that. But for the purposes of being able to get some sleep, I'm getting rid of my daytimes first, and then I'll get rid of my nighttimes last. But what I was going to say was, I've noticed that when I'm getting up in the morning now, I'm waking up a lot easier. And because when I was taking such a large amount, that's so sedative, I just had trouble getting up and waking up, because I was just like, just groggy. And then when I get up, I'm like half out of it. I'm super ill and irritable and stuff like that. And, nothing makes it better until I can get in there, take another dose of Kratom, get some coffee, and then like, okay, now I'm good. That started to change a little bit. Since my amounts have gotten significantly lower, I've noticed that's started to change. I've been waking up more refreshed. I've been waking up way less withdrawals, like a little bit slight, like when I'm laying there. But as soon as I get up and I'm start moving around, and I take the dogs out, and I start making my lunch for the day, and I shower and do it, I'm getting to the point where that stuff is coming easier, and I'm able to kind of get up and get going a little better, because I'm not so just tired from taking so much freaking Kratom, because if you take a lot of it, it can be very sedative for you. And I'm noticing a big difference now that I'm starting to get down to those lower amounts, 16 grams, definitely noticing that my body is having a much easier time dealing with it. I expressed a few months ago how when I was taking that 40, 50 grams a day, I would start farting in the evening, and I would fart like sometimes every 60 seconds. I was like, one of those airy ones too, where you can just tell your gut's just like, damn, trying to deal with all that extra, stuff you got in there. And I knew it was the Kratom. And let me tell you, that has completely gone away. Within the past probably 2 weeks, I have not had, like, my gas issue has completely gone away. Okay? It was very obvious to me that it was the overabundance of Kratom that I was taking that was giving me that sort of gas. But this morning, my wife's been sick as well. We've both had this thing going on, and she was out of town too, not yesterday, but the night before that. And so she's been sick as well, kind of struggling. So I got up this morning. The baby woke up early. I got up with her. I helped her give him a bath. I helped her get him dressed. I took the dogs out. I fed them. I made my own lunch. I made coffee. I did a couple of dishes. I was up for probably a good 45 minutes or an hour just doing stuff. And I had not taken Kratom, right? And that doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're a person who has gotten up to the amounts of something like Kratom, where it just really beats you down into a submissive sort of lifestyle, to where you're just like, I can't break out of this. I can't get up and just be like, just Superman, I'm ready to face the day, unless I get that Kratom in me. But until that Kratom moment happens, you're just like a bitch. You're just like, oh, no, alarm clock, no. Oh, sunlight, no. You know, you just don't want to do anything. It just really beats you into submission. And I'm starting to feel that lift a little bit, you know, a lot, actually. Because 2 months ago, when I was taking 40, 50 grams per day, I would not have done that. I'm going to be completely freaking honest. I would have laid there and I would have let my wife do the shit because I just wouldn't have felt up to it. And I'm ashamed to say that, you know, but, you know, I'm changing it. I'm improving. I'm doing better. And I do pride myself in being it's a morning thing, you know, always during the day when I'm feeling good and I'm up, and I always help with my son. I always help my wife, but the morning times were significantly more rough for me. Okay. And that ball and chain is starting to get lighter now. So that will happen for you if you stay the course and you continue to taper off, if that's what you're choosing to do. Okay. All right. I gotta go. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. My name's Corey, and I'm out. See you guys next time. Peace.